so we're on number 3 now. So this one might be a little bit more controversial.
Go on then.
This is Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon, two-parter.
That's not controversial. Again, I was considering it.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like one part is better than the other. But anyway, carry on.
This is The Silence. All we knew about them at this point was, you know, silence
They're
will fall.
weird aliens that you don't remember seeing.
Yeah.
But they tell you what to do.
The concept of it is amazing.
Post-hypnotic suggestion. Yeah, the concept is
it's
great.
amazing. This is the freshest alien that's come up since the Weeping Angels.
Well, yeah, and it was
even
almost...
then, the Weeping
They're
Angels
not quite as
were fresh
iconic
from
as the
Thomas
Weeping
Hamlet.
Angels,
Oh,
but
no.
I thought that they had the potential to be.
Oh yeah. And how they resolve the situation is not a case of like, okay, I'm going to do this one thing this one time that's going to stop you going back to Earth forever, which is what seems to happen in most episodes.
Yeah.
It's a case of, I basically started a revolution because everyone has seen the moon landing.
Yeah.
Everyone has seen it, and I've put you saying you should kill us all on sight, which is just you saying an offhand phrase. I've cut it into that footage. No one's going to remember it, but as a post-hypnotic suggestion,
Because it's the silence. Yeah, it was clever.
yeah, anytime anyone sees you, they're going to try and kill you. And because there's so many more humans than there are of you, you're screwed. And it's kind of like...
Two problems I have with that, though.
Yeah.
First one, the Doctor's basically condoning genocide, something that he supposedly hates.
Not if they leave, but okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. But, you know, it's still like that.
It's still...
Second,
yeah, I'll get that.
Second, right, so we can't... And this is only a nitpick for me, because I did enjoy that story. Okay, so anyone, yeah, exactly. Anyone post the lunar landings, if they see one, they have to kill them on sight, right? Okay. So what about all the times where they go back before then? He's kind of written himself into a corner, because then technically we're assuming that any story before the lunar landing, wherever that took place, the silence are still there.
Yeah. But then you... Again,
so how does that retcon into every single story set before then?
Right, so anything that's set before, what, the moon landing was what, 1969?
69, yeah.
So anything set...
Alright.
Anything... 69, oh yeah. 69, dudes! Let's say there's something that's set in like 1901. Right, Peter Capaldi and the taking Pearl Bailey, Bill Mackey, whatever the fuck her name is.
Bill.
To the Victorian Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's set before 1969 moon landing.
So technically the silence is still there.
So technically the silence is still there. If they,
So he knows that they're there,
it's the thing.
and he doesn't do anything about
Here's
it.
the thing. He doesn't know they're there for 2 reasons.
Well, he does.
Well, no, he doesn't.
He does.
Because, one, he doesn't know when they got to Earth in the first place, because they never say a timeline for when they got there.
I'm sure they did say that they've been there forever since the beginning of human history. He did say it. It goes. They were there for. They helped the humans invent the wheel. They helped do this and this. So they've been there since the beginning of human civilization.
Okay.
Is what he was saying. So it's like I like the idea of it, but then it's like, okay, so in any story set before then, surely it should be like a silence story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just a minor thing.
And the second reason is, while the Silents do have time travel, it's not established that the ones that are in the past went to the future, found out they were being hunted, then went back in time again to be before they were being hunted. So it's kind of like, it's a logical absurdity.
That comes up in the Lodger, doesn't it?
This is it. It's kind of like, in the Lodger, it's like, oh, this is just an abandoned spaceship, implying that they're all dead.
It turns out to be one of their ships from back then.
Yeah, so it implies that they're dead. So they all got wiped out rather than leave, or managed to escape. Again, we don't know how many there were, but by the same token, it's kind of like...
We don't know where they come from, what we fight, they're basically... Doesn't it turn out that they're a militant sect?
They're a militant sect.
Because they're trying to kill the Doctor
Silence.
so he doesn't go... Eventually, the whole situation is they're trying to kill the Doctor so he doesn't go back to Trenzalore and get the time...
Exactly.
So the Time Lords against the Daleks, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Very convoluted. But at that time, obviously you didn't know that was going. I'm sure Stephen Moffat didn't know that was going that direction either. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy the story.
This is it.
I think the beginning where when you and me watched it for the first time, and they kill him. He gets killed off by this random astronaut at the beginning, and he doesn't regenerate because he gets shot again.
He starts regenerating. It's like, I'm sorry, and then gets shot again and dies.
Yeah. And then you're like, no. I remember our first reaction was like, they're killing him off. this is like typical. This at the time we revered Stephen Moffat as being amazing. We still kind of do, but
he's the best out of a bad bunch.
Hellbent. Oh, kind of tarnished him a bit. But yeah, but that was just like, wow, he's really stamping his mark as this is my show now. I'm gonna fuck you up.
This is it. The only
by killing off the Doctor in the beginning.
The only problem I have with this episode, this 2-part story, is in part 1. Matt Smith's Doctor is technically the last of the regeneration line of the original regenerations.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't know that at the time. We thought he had one more regeneration.
Well, the fans kind of worked it out because they kind of determined, oh right, so the Metacrisis Doctor counts as a regeneration.
Yeah.
And the War Doctor counts as a regeneration.
But this is we didn't know about...
No, we didn't know the official... Yeah, exactly. We didn't know officially until the end.
When Matt Smith starts to regenerate, it's like... Now, with the view of hindsight, we're like, hang on, he shouldn't have been able to do that, so he should have just been shot and died.
But then in Time of the Doctor, then obviously I think even Stephen Moffat was having a little joke there with the fans. He was like, I regenerated once before. I was a bit cocky back then, and I thought, I'll just throw it away. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, okay. So he's acknowledging that as a regeneration.
Yeah, it's kind of. It's stuff like that. It's kind of that thing is only a problem in hindsight. At the time, it's like it's absolutely fine because we still potentially thought he might have like one, or if not two, regenerations. So
I mean, and even that was going from established canon in the classic series, which Moffat and the new writers were like, that isn't necessary for the new series. But it's like, well, it is because this is a continuation of the classic series.
Yeah.
So it has to be acknowledged somehow.
It's like, for me, these two stories is kind of like. First of all, being set in America, it was a nice twist because they haven't really gone to America before.
They had really fucking upped the budget for this season, which I really like. It was very cinematic. I just really like the scope of this story. And
when you do a story and you do it well, then it's like, you know what? You got things like the resolution to the two parts. You've got the Doctor who's been he's been tied up in Area 51. He's been chained down to a chair, and they've been slowly building a prison.
Was it Dwarf Star?
It's Dwarf Star Alloy.
Dwarf Star Alloy, yeah, exactly.
It's like, slowly built. It's like it's taken them like what?
Denser than a black hole.
Denser than a black hole, and it still won't keep me from killing you. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to go in and see the prisoner.
You made it up.
And like, okay, so we're going to go in and see the prisoner now. So the American guy walks in. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he walks in.
I haven't seen it in a while, to be fair.
And it's like he walks in and it's like, okay, so this is Dwarf Star Alloy. That door's closed, yeah. So there's no one in here with us, right? TARDIS, let's go.
Yeah, and right, fuck off then.
That's the entire point. Yeah. The entire point was we need to build a room so we can
pretend that we can't get out, so then we can get out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that way it can resolve that side of the situation. That's when they go save River. That's when they go save Rory and Amy. And that's when they come back into it. It's like it's little things like that. It's like, you know what? Little things that when they try to illustrate the fact that you don't remember, you stop remembering them when you don't see them, and they have. It seems silly to think about it, but it was a perfect way of doing it.
It's a very good concept.
You had the American woman in the bathroom who was like, oh my god, is that George? Is that George in a costume?
Yeah.
It's like, no, look at me. Oh, hello. Yeah. Oh my god, is that George in a costume? It's like, they do it like 3 or 4 times.
And I have to say, the way that the silence kills that woman is brutal. Like, it really is like, oh, that's quite, like, just literally... Just pulverises her, it's just like,
wow. She ceases to exist.
Yeah. But then the higher, it's like, well, why did you kill her? But it's like, I can kind of understand it, but it's like, well, because she kept looking at me. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. It's like the silence they don't want to be seen unless they want you to see them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, look, this is what I can do. Fuck you.
Yeah. Great big penis middle finger.
All right, and that's I think that's a good way to segue on to my number 3.
Your number 3.
Right. Well, bit of deja vu here, but my number 3 and reason why it's so high on this list is Blink.
Hey!
Now, where to begin? I mean, okay, so the Weeping Angels for a start, and as you were alluding to before, the whole idea of them is just nuts.
Yeah.
But it makes you think that every statue that exists could be a fucking weeping angel.
Yeah.
So that concept alone is awesome.
Yeah.
The concept of them, which I preferred over what they did later on with them, even though I did like Time of Angels, that they basically they absorb your life energy and throw you back in time. So essentially, they've killed you, but they've kind of mercifully killed you.
They haven't killed you. They just put you to a point where you can't have the life you would have
had,
lived,
and
and
so-
they take that energy.
Yeah. So when Sally Sparrow's friend comes into the room, sees the angel, and then wakes up somewhere, and she's like,
She wakes up in a field and
in
in Downton Abbey
empty-
times.
Yeah, exactly. And she sees a farmer boy.
Farmer Boy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you."
So it's like, I need to. What day is it? What time is it? And then eventually you find out that she wrote a letter back then,
yeah.
and then she like dated whatever it was, and she's had a life and she's had a family. Goes, I've had a good life, but please just remember to do this, this, and this. And
Yeah.
that is like, oh, that's haunting.
That is haunting.
It really is, because it's like that kind of goes above and beyond just Doctor Who, but it's just good storytelling
Yeah.
in general. I also quite like the fact that it is a Doctor Light story, but unlike fucking Love and Monsters, it's a good Doctor Light story.
I'm sorry, Peter Kay, I love you, you're a fantastic comedian, but when they start talking about how they have a sex life, and she's a fucking pavement
God.
slab.
It's just bad.
She's a pavement slab with a face in it. Fucking a blowjob with a concrete slab,
Yeah,
come on!
exactly. It's just like, well, you know, you take what you can get, but that's a bit much, isn't it?
I think I just have a wank, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's become one of those iconic episodes.
Oh yeah.
And to put it any lower than that would just do it a disservice as far as I'm concerned.
True.
The whole idea of all of it. When Sally meets this guy at the police station,
Yeah.
he's a nice guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'll be back in like 2 minutes or something." And then later on, like 5 minutes later, she sees him and he's on his deathbed, and he goes, "That was me back then." She was, "Oh my god!" Like so.
I got sent back to the 60s.
Sent back to the 60s, and I couldn't find where you were, and it's just like, oh man, this is really like gut wrenching.
Yeah.
So it's like it was one of the few episodes of the new series which really actually like pulled at the heartstrings, but in a clever way as well as in a sort of soulful way. So
it didn't do it so much that you felt horrible all the way through.
It was just like
little twinges where it's like, you know, when the guy wakes up and it's like the doctor finds him in the alley. It's like, hi, you've been sent here from 2000 whatever, and I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry.
Really sorry.
But,
you'll get back there, but it's going to take
you a very long time. And it's like just the fact that these characters, like the girl at the beginning and then him, they've had to just deal with that.
Yeah.
And then the resolution where he manages to get all the weeping angels looking at each other.
Yeah.
Is just priceless. I think that's one of the best resolutions to an episode, and the fact is like they're now quantum locked, so they are there forever.
They can't
another example of the Doctor. That series for me, that season 3 was really a case of they were really going for the kind of fury of a Time Lord, and that was another example of it, where it's just like he made sure that they were just stuck forever. Yeah, again,
and
like
someone
eternally
physically comes in and moves the statue, which they have no reason to do.
No, and it was just like
Actually, I think they could because all the hands were touching, so they're technically all stone together. But
they're all stone together, but still, they were all like eternally quantum locked. So, so my number 3, Blink, classic.
Blink,
never get bored watching it.
Not a problem there.
And just genius.
Okay, so my number 2, Heaven Sent. Specifically, Heaven Sent.
Okay.
This is my 1-2-parter I've broken up into 2 separate episodes.
Yeah.
Heaven Sent is absolute genius. It's Peter Capaldi on his own all the way through the episode. The only thing that you see, the only other person in the episode is the monster, which is basically you don't actually see it. It's like an angel sort of thing in a giant white robe. You never see its face. You never see really what it looks like. It's just a hulking thing comes slowly trying to follow him around this castle. And the idea is, and the thing is, when you start watching this episode, he's like, I'm looking at the stars and it looks like I'm a certain place, but it's at least 10,000 light years away from Earth. And it's like, okay, the Doctor has been trapped inside this basically inside this castle, which is inside this disc. And the whole point is he's not reliving the same 3 days. He's just rebooting himself every 3 days. And the thing is, because he has no memories, because it's a reboot, he's doing exactly the same things every 3 days. Until the last point, where it's a case of, I find this stone wall, and on the other side of this stone wall, or crystal wall, or whatever you want to call it, the other side of that wall is the door, the way out. And he only realises that at the last minute. And he basically gets like 2 or 3 punches against crystal to try and break through it. And then as it goes on, when you get to once you get to towards the end of the episode and you realise he's been reliving he's kind of reliving these same 3 days or redoing these same 3 days every single time. He basically is having to punch. He's basically been punching through this crystal wall
for a very long time.
I think they say something like 2 billion years, 200 billion years, or something silly like that.
4 billion years.
Yeah, something a ridiculous length of time. Doing the same 3 times, 3 days, for let's say 200 billion years. He's been punching his way through crystal, doing that speech about the bird.
Yeah.
And that is amazing because first of all, Peter Capaldi is an amazing actor. He can pull off something like this being on his own. 2, the payoff for the revelation and all the stuff leading up to it makes so much sense, and it works perfectly with how they've done the story. It's a wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey story, but done in a way that is basically perfect. And it's kind of, when you look at all the evidence, it's kind of like you think, okay, all the evidence is there. This is not out of left field. This is not a fucking reset button like we've touched on earlier.
Indeed.
This is just a case of...
Which we'll be touching on our top 10 worst videos.
Yes, we will.
What's top 10 worst video? Anyway,
yeah. And it's like, but then it's like this. It's just kind of like, this is a damn near perfect time travel story. The only issue is the very first version of the Doctor was basically running around naked for the best part of a day and a half, and that's your only plot hole.
Yeah, only a small leap, but then
that's
because he had to he was wet because he jumped into the pool, so then he had to change his clothes.
Like, well, the castle's empty. I can do it. It's fine.
Exactly.
So, but that's your only real plot hole in that episode.
Yeah.
And anyone who says otherwise is stupid or not paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like, there's people out there saying like, oh, but why doesn't the crystal wall reset? It's like, pay attention.
Because it's
nothing resets. The Doctor puts it back. If anything he hasn't put back, it's still there. The castle itself doesn't reset.
No.
It doesn't.
He does.
He does. Nothing else does. The reason the angel thing is still on the other side of the bloody castle walking towards him is it's got to walk back across the whole castle, and they established it takes at least 12 hours to get from one edge of the castle to the other at the speed the angel's moving. To my mind, this is not a 2-part story. It's not. This is a single episode that leads into the next episode.
Yeah.
It's not a 2-part story.
Yeah. Because
the revelation that he comes out and he's on Gallifrey is very much a case of they don't do anything on Gallifrey, literally other than the fact that he walks out of... He gets out of the castle in the disc, and it's on Gallifrey. It's like, okay, I'm home. He doesn't even say that. It's like, he just finds a little boy, it's like, you go to the city, you tell the most important person you can find that I am back.
Yeah. He is me, and that's where it goes
and that's
to
it.
shit.
That's where it pans up to the giant city inside the giant snow globe, and it's like, yeah, okay. I don't know why you need to sit in a snow globe, but you're Time Lords. You wear silly neck things. It's fine.
you like fluffy necklaces, shiny objects, and lots of death.
Yeah. But this is it. Right. That's my number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is Dalek.
Oh. Yeah.
Now, the reason why this is so far high up my list is basically several reasons. First of all, this is the first time that we've seen a Dalek on screen in how many fucking years? So long. Since 1989, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long fucking time.
A long time.
Right? Then the build up to the return of Doctor Who starts, and you start to think, oh, okay, who's going to play the Doctor? It turns out to be Christopher Eccleston. Brilliant. Right, what does the TARDIS look like? You see the TARDIS. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next thing on your mind is, when are the Daleks coming back?
Yeah.
What are the Daleks going to do? They come back in a big way. But, like you said earlier, just as one Dalek. But one Dalek is all you fucking need.
Yes.
Especially in that story. The best thing about that story, best 2 things, is the Dalek and Christopher Eccleston.
Yes.
Because Christopher Eccleston, in my opinion, his best performance in the entire series is in that episode. Because he shows you the anguish, the hatred, the despair, just outrage at the fact that this thing is still alive after all these years.
Yeah.
Not to mention, not just after all these years, but the fact that he's just basically had to destroy, up until that point, that's what they were telling us, he's had to basically wipe out his entire civilization and the Dalek civilization.
Yeah.
And then when he first meets that Dalek, before he sees it, he's like, oh, so he goes to obviously going to this sort of like
Into
the museum,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, you know, well, why are you looking this creature up? Like he's being the doctor, he's being nice, and yeah, why are you looking this creature up? You know, you shouldn't. I'm coming to help. He's sick. Okay, how can I help? And then you get the famous scene, Doctor.
Yes, I'm the Doctor.
Yeah, the doctor. And he goes, it's impossible.
No.
That scene, for me, is one of the most iconic scenes in all of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because he shows just how much, not how much he hates the Daleks, but also he shows such a range of emotions in one scene. He goes from fear, because he's scared shitless, because he's like, get me out of here, this is going to kill everyone, and I'm first on the fucking list. He then starts laughing at him, at the Dalek, because he's like, oh, well, actually,
your gun doesn't work.
What's the point of you? If you can't kill, what's the point of you? You're nothing. Yeah. And then he shows regret, because the Dalek goes, what happened? What did you do? Almost, you know what I mean? He goes, I am alone in the universe. Yeah. And then he goes, and then just the way he turns to the camera goes, I had no choice. So he just shows every fucking range that you could possibly do in that scene. And just the way the episode builds up, and the way that Dalek goes around, and eventually he starts upgrading himself and recovering himself, and he goes, he has like the fucking force field around him, so nothing can really touch him. It just escalates. And escalates, and then we get to the point where, like you said before, which kind of annoyed me a little bit. Rose goes, "What the hell were you turning into, Doctor? You would make a good Dalek, all this sort of stuff." Yeah. But the fact that the Dalek, right at the end, and I was tearing up when I first watched this episode, because it was just like, oh man, he goes, "This is not life. This is sickness," and it's like, he would rather kill himself than be a human hybrid.
Yeah,
that's how much he hates being like this. He
wasn't even a human hybrid. It was just
when Rose touched him.
He touched it,
absorbed the DNA,
absorbed a bit to repair itself, and it's like, but that's that tiny contamination was enough.
Yeah, and it was just I just thought it was just a marvelous fucking episode, and I don't know why Rob Shearman hasn't written any episode since, because as far as I can tell, as of this recording, I've looked it up. That's the only episode of Doctor Who that he's written.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a shame. He's pretty good.
He is. He's amazing, and he's done like different books and stuff, but he's not written a single episode of Doctor Who since then. And I just think, why? Because it was a fucking masterpiece, and some of the later Dalek stories. But for me,
give or take,
for me, that just the fact that one Dalek and the post-traumatic stress Doctor. And the Doctor Who regrets, that was really the Doctor Who regrets. On the Day of Doctor, they say, the Doctor Who forgets, Doctor Who regrets. Yeah. Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor Who regrets. Let's face it.
Yeah, he was. That was his shtick.
I just think because this was like episode 6 of the first series, so it was building up, and then finally we actually got, for me, Aliens of London, whatever. Rose. This was for me. This is when Doctor Who started again.
Yes.
This episode. So just fantastic. To quote the man himself, fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
So Jack, your number one.
My number one. Well, I'll get the list back up because I can't remember because I'm here. Right. Do you want to have a quick guess?
Well, I'm trying to think back of the ones you've already said, and the ones that I've already said that you haven't mentioned. Should I guess the Doctor, first of all?
So, try and guess the Doctor.
Matt Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. It's not on anything you've said so far.
It's not?
No.
Okay, so it's a Matt Smith episode. First season?
No.
Okay, so second season.
No.
Really? So what, his third season then? Obviously.
Yeah.
From his third season? Okay. We'll be talking... Alright, so it's third season, part 1 or part 2?
Part 2.
Alright. Trying to think what episode... Oh!
That's probably the biggest clue, and now you know that information.
Okay. Shall I guess it and see if I'm right?
Go for it.
Cold War.
Yes.
Hey!
Cold War is my favourite episode of Doctor Who.
Big shout. It's very good. It is very good.
It's got everything, to my mind, it's got everything that it needs to be a perfect story in terms of Doctor Who and how it works, right?
Yeah, it's a very classic series story, isn't it?
You've got the Doctor being the Doctor in the right way. You have references to older stuff going on, like the HAD system on the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Which has basically only been used twice. Once in this episode and once doing
Patrick Troughton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got the monster of the week being an ice warrior, which is a callback to classic Who, while still being intimidating and scary, doesn't actually get stopped.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And they really thought they've got they really brought it back really well. They realised it really well. Like it's almost identical to the original ones. Yeah.
It walks through all the Russian soldiers on the submarine. So this whole episode, just to give you a synopsis, if you haven't seen it, is set on a Russian submarine during the Cold War.
Yeah.
Now, the idea here is that the Russians have found something in the ice, and they think it's a baby mammoth. It's actually an ice warrior, which is a giant green scaled Martian.
Yeah.
And it's like you'd think that it's kind of like, okay, I can't mistake that for a mammoth, but okay, whatever. But the thing is, this thing gets loose of the ice. The Doctor and Clara appear in the TARDIS on the submarine, and the submarine gets stranded at the bottom of the ocean. And now they've got the Ice Warrior trapped, but it's a case of the Ice Warrior is now walking around the submarine. Well, the Ice Warrior is trying to find out what's going on because it's been frozen in the ice for like 500 years. And once it works out what's going on, it's trying to bust itself loose because it doesn't want to be trapped in a submarine.
Well, obviously not. Yeah.
And then you've got some great moments from a lot of different characters. I mean, everyone turns in a bloody amazing performance, and then the whole resolution to this goes back to the connection to the Cold War. That at one moment, all someone has to do is push a button, and the world's gone.
Yeah. That was the reality at that time as well.
It was.
Yeah.
You got Skaldak, the Ice Warrior, who's basically standing in front of the nuclear launch button on the Russian submarine. His finger hovering over it. All he's got to do, that little bit of motion on his finger, and he's wiped out. He started nuclear war. He's wiped out the world. That's all he's got to do. Everything else is set and ready to go. And the only thing stopping him is the fact that the Doctor's got his sonic screwdriver there. It's like, look, I can fuse the circuit by just pushing this button on my screwdriver, which will stop everything going. It will stop. It'll stop the thing launching. The missiles will still detonate and we'll all die. So you can die with us.
Yeah, but your grand goal for destruction will be null and void.
Yeah. So it's like, and this is like, and with all the fear and everything else going on, because it's such a good thing. It's like, the Doctor's going to do it. If he thinks Skaldak's actually about to push the button, he'll push his button first.
Yeah.
But then by the same token, Skaldak he's a Martian. He's got nothing to live for. There's nothing for him.
Well, as far as he's concerned, all his people were gone, or he was deserted thousands of years ago.
Yeah, he's got no reason to not push the button.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he might want to be a good person, but his moralities are very different. So it's okay.
Well, he's a warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just when you got that moment, you've got the moment of like silence. You just got the noise of the water trickling, and you've got Clara. It's like because in an earlier conversation, you've got like one of the people who's one of the maintenance guys on the submarine. Who's like, when I feel scared, I just sing a song. And he sings Hungry Like the Wolf by Duran Duran.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you've got Clara very nervously singing Hungry Like the Wolf for like 2-3 lines while they're both standing there about to push the button. It's chilling in a really awesome way.
Yeah.
I love it. I watched that episode so many times because it's like, if I want to watch Doctor Who and I want to watch something to entertain me and keep me going, I'll put that on because that one is my go-to one.
Yeah.
It's a
very good story.
Anything else, usually it's a case of I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm usually watching it as part of the whole series or part of an episode block or something.
Yeah.
This one is like, I've got an hour before Ellie comes home. Boom,
stick that on, mellow out.
Perfect.
Yeah. Good choice.
That is my number one.
Good choice, sir.
Yeah. What's yours?
Unfortunately, it didn't make my top 10. Because
for me.
My number one, and it was very close,
Yeah.
but it didn't quite make it in there because in sort of the overall enjoyment of the whole series, there were other episodes that sort of just went up there.
Yeah.
But my number one is Heaven Sent.
Ah, well,
Now,
can't argue that one. It's my number two.
we've already touched on this, but for me, this is the ultimate love letter to Peter Capaldi, and I really appreciate it for that, because for his whole tenure, he's been overshadowed by the companions.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
it's all about Clara. It's all about Bill. Well, later on it was, but also for me, this is the best performance of a Doctor since Tom Baker, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of since Deadly Assassin, where he basically was on his own. Okay, he was with the Time Lords, but it was a companion-less story.
Yeah, he had no companion. It was literally him carrying everything. Everyone else was extras.
He was carrying the episode on his shoulders, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this episode, they had the confidence and obviously the knowledge to know that Peter Capaldi could carry this episode by himself, and it was a masterclass.
Yeah.
Everything in it was just superb. The atmosphere of the episode, the music,
Yeah.
the Shepherd's Boy theme, where he's breaking through the wall.
Breaking for the wall, yeah.
It was just, on so many levels, this was one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever. Let alone just in the classic new series. Everything just worked for me.
So, how long is eternity?
How long is eternity? Well, we found out when he kept cracking it, and it was such a nice tribute to Peter Capaldi's Doctor, and even though, okay, it was fairly contained in terms of what was going on in the story, but the fact that he dedicated all those years and determination to get through this wall, and at that point we didn't really know what it was that he was getting through.
Yeah.
But the build-up, the montage sequences, just everything about it was just perfect.
Yeah.
And nothing has really matched it in terms of quality of a Doctor in the new series, and that's why, for me, it has to be number one, because I can't imagine any of the other Doctors in the new series, anyway, having the gravitas and the ability. No offence to the other actors, but I just think only Peter Capaldi, for me, could have done a story like this.
Yeah.
And for that, I have to give it all of my credit. It was just amazing, and for me, that's why it's number one.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. It was my number two. It only got beaten out by personal preference.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So I can't argue that.
And then and I'll just completely ignore the two part that followed it. But
yeah.
I consider that, like you said, a standalone story.
Oh, you can say a standalone story that leads into a second part.
It kind of comes out of one, leads into two. But
you don't.
There's not much more I can heap praise on it, because it was just the Doctor. It was a Doctor episode.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what the show's all about. It's all about the Doctor. That episode was all about the Doctor. And that's why it's number one for me.
Yeah. No, cool. Right, so as a quick recap, just so you know.
Oh yeah, so we can go back through the list, and we can do a little list like, on the screen
we'll
or
have
something.
it on there, so
we'll try and do it.
Right.
Quite similar towards the end. Yeah.
This is it. Well, the thing is, quality is quality. It's kind of
exactly, absolutely. So, thanks all for watching.
Yeah.
If you agreed with us or you didn't agree with us, feel free to let us know in the comments section.
Yeah. Put your favourites down in the comments. We'll have a look. If there's anything, we've said roughly where these all are. We've given you the episode.
I would like to go into more depth about each episode, but it's just so much to fucking remember. It's like the key moments. We would. Maybe at one point we'll do like a review of
each
of these ones, etc. But
we'll see what happens.
So thanks for watching. We will, if you want us to do a top 10 worst, well, if you want us to do it or not, we're going to do it anyway.
We'll do it anyway.
But watch that one as well when we do it.
Funnily enough, that's actually going to be quite easy.
Yeah.
To this one's hard.
This one was quite difficult. That one, I've already got 5 already in mind.
Can I just say everything from the last series and be done with it?
yeah. I mean that's. Let's just say there'll be a few finales in there from me.
Well, and this is it. I know which one my number one would be, because it's got character assassination of the First Order in it, and I'm going to leave that phrase at that. But you know.
Anyway, like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.